1, 2. One, two, three. Hello, it's Sunny Bonetti. It is 10 after 8. Welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We're out in Mexico. It is race number 5 of the All-Star leg, or the All-Star edition of the BrakeAway Racing League. As you can see, 17 contenders looking to stake their claim on a climb up the championship ladder. The Nucho, Mex, Tindo, and Fundo, Donathan Laka, the 86er, Billy of House Hendricks. We have Duke Takar, Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. Mango is here, as is Capoza. The Haas duo of Marshy and Zotal are represented, as is Nquali. And would you look at that, Man Ray, the veteran racer of top tiers past, is back and in contention, as is always the case on a Wednesday night. Stage figure of speech is here on behalf of a team called Ferrari, and of course Loveness as well. We currently have an interesting viewpoint of the paddock out here in Mexico, and we will see just how our contenders will fare as this race goes right on along. We're currently watching Man Ray. My name is Bob O'Connor. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to have you along here with us. Let us make sure we've got as much information as one would need at this very early stage of this race. Man Ray choosing to come out in this first of 3 qualifying sessions on a set of medium tires. If you're brand new to Formula One, qualifying is simple. The aim of the game is to go on a lap around the circuit as fast as you possibly can. The fastest times, of course, will be arranged from top to bottom on the left of your screen. And in this first qualifying session, if we had a full grid of 20 drivers, 5 would be getting knocked out. And we would then be proceeding to Q2, where a further 5 would then get knocked out. And of course, we would then have the shootout for pole position to determine who will start at the front of the grid. And right now, starting us off on the first navigation of this year's circuit is none other than Nquali. Medium tires for the Kick Sauber driver as we hop on board to get a decent view of just how Nquali takes that first corner. Nailing the apex there, wide of the apex in turn 2, and he's going to try and get it as straight as he possibly can. Trying to get that line as best as they possibly can. Key Music, it's great to have you along for the ride. It's, of course, 15 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to the All-Star season. It is race number 5 of a very, very long season, it must be said. And Quali will be the first to give us a representative time, having started their lap. Man Ray has also started their push lap, as has Capoza further back. And, of course, Mex. Those 2 drivers representing V-Carb, as we watch Nquali invalidating, sadly, for them. So we'll hop on over to Man Ray, who follows closely behind. Can he keep it on track? Now through the S section, about to end the second sector is Man Ray. This will be the first representative time, 57.967 at the end of sector 2. Now watch that closely as this session takes right on along. It's Man Ray now into the stadium section. Beautiful vantage point, the likes of which Tepito and Zotal in years gone by experienced in person. This is Man Ray, however. This is the first representative lap. Across the line, 117.603 is the benchmark. There is a Haas on the verge of finishing. We'll cross over. It was Capoza. I beg your pardon, not a Haas, but rather a V-Carb. Fastest time, 16.027. We'll switch on over to one of the Haas cars. It could be Marshy, it could be Zotal. It was Marshy who has set the second quickest time, a 116.154. Is another blue livery car just crossing the line. It may yet be Donathan Laka, as Mex, Capoza's teammate, sets, by some margin, the quickest time we've seen today, 115.559. As I say that, Billy Hendricks is here with a fantastic 15.357. Peace, a.k.a. Benuccio, is in the comment section. It's great to have you along for the ride, sir. Billy Hendricks in the Scarlet Red Ferrari has set the quickest time of the day. It is Billy Hendricks from Mex, from Capoza, from Marshy, from Man Ray. And then M. Fundo rounds off your top 6 as things currently stand. As I say that, Duke slams by some margin the quickest time we've seen today for McLaren, 1:14.681. A absolutely sensational time. 13 minutes of the session to go. We still have the Nucho, Tindo, Donathan Laka, the 86er, Debo Crocodile, Mango, Stage Figure of Speech, and Loveness, who will be among the front runners. On we go with Tindo, who seems to have abandoned that push lap. Romeo Mandla Massigo was in the comments saying, let's go! One of the founding members of this year's league. Mandla, of course, it's great to see you along for the ride here. What can Tindo do from the vantage point of not having set a time as yet? We will see exactly what Tindo can put together. Duke the car! 1:14.681. The superstar driver representing the city, the town, the location of Abuja out in Nigeria. Now, also, you could call him somewhat of a veteran as far as league racing is concerned, and has come on in leaps and bounds in the years since making their debut in the BrakeAway Racing League stable, back when it was still 3 tiers of the BrakeAway stable. Now, Duke having set the time to beat the benchmark. Let's hop on board now with Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. This is Bongani and Gwenya. That was turn 3, I believe, and now sends it screaming down this short DRS stint. And we'll look to nail the braking zone and complete the first sector with a time of 28.718 seconds. Watch that closely. We were noticing, of course, the splits at the end of Sector 2, when we were still on board with the likes of Nkwali, who was one of the first to set a time, but Nkwali currently P8. What can Debo Crocodile do now through the S section? Looking to ride the curves while maintaining as much speed as they possibly can. Debo Crocodile is still valid, is still running, and finishes the second sector with a time of 56.916. So that'll definitely be quicker than the likes of Nkwali at the very least. Kid K is in the comment section. Good to have you along, sir, and of course, fantastic work that you do behind the scenes and the BrakeAway Racing League stable. This is Debo Crocodile with less than 11 minutes to go across the line for the 6th best time, 1:16.325. Right, here we go. Debo Crocodile, 6th quickest time. So it's Duke from Billy Hendricks, from Mex from Kavoza. Marshy has the 5th quickest time, Debo Crocodile, and then Zotal. Man Ray is currently 8th, but as I say that, it looks like Loveness has just come across the line for the 5th quickest time of the day. Now, let's see what the likes of Mango can do. Freshly squeezed fastest lap, question mark? Well, time will tell. He is going absolutely aggressive, riding the curves with so much gusto in this first of 3 qualifying sessions. 10 minutes of this session to go. 28.182 is not to be scoffed at come the end of the first sector. Mango is on the edge, is on the limits of the track as we saw him coming through that section there. Now looking to complete the second sector. We'll tackle the S's. On board we go with the Papaya McLaren. Red hot form is Mango as usual. Sir Lancelot will join the fray, will join the lobby, will join the fight in a matter of minutes. This is Mango, however. Second sector time of 55.404 is nothing to be scoffed at. Mango is looking to give Duke some sleepless nights, and we will see how this fares out. Seekley, the champion, is in the comment section, but Mango is looking to put on a champion performance with less than 10 minutes to go. It is Mango with a sensational 1:13.961. How about that? On a set of medium tires, it's Mango with a freshly squeezed fastest lap. Once again, 9 minutes of this session to go. Mango has laid down the ultimate gauntlet as the reactors start pouring in the comment section. Let's hop on over to Peace, aka the Nucho. Now in the final sector of this track, came very close to the wall there. Did the Nucho, crosses the line for the 9th quickest time of the day thus far. 18 racers. We are in for something possibly spectacular as Seekley, well, to paraphrase what Seekley just said in the comment section, this is a family show, but Seekley said sanctified feces. That is the best I can paraphrase over there. 8.5 minutes of the session to go as Nucho is the 10th quickest driver. As things stand, it is the McLaren superstar duo of Mango and Duke in the top 2 spots by some margin. Mango 13.9, Duke 14.6. Billy Hendricks representing the Scarlet of Ferrari with a time of 115.3, and then it is Mex and Capoza running close to one another, P4 and 5. Loveness is 6th, Marshy is 7th, Debo Crocodile is 8th, and then we have Man Ray, who are watching now in 9th, Danucho 10th, Zotal down in 7th. But it seems he is giving it an almighty push, to paraphrase a certain Pain, if some of you will know that. Now, it is less than 8 minutes to go as Zotal finishes the second sector 1.2 seconds quicker than his previous best. Did not quite take the curve there quite well. That'll compromise him. That'll cost him a precious few tenths of a second. And what can he do now? Looking to put it together towards the end of this here lap. So far, the exhibition, the benchmark, is was Mango. And now Zotal comes across the line for the 5th quickest time of the day. He breathes a huge sigh of relief. Will not be at risk of elimination at this point. I want to hear from you in the comment section. What sort of time in this field will be enough to guarantee progression to Q2? Remember, only 15 can go through. So at this stage, we will be getting 3 of these superstars getting knocked out. Not sure why the AI of Valtteri Bottas is riding in this here lobby. Yeah, it is effectively 17 drivers that we have if we exclude that AI. We're on board now with Jonathan Laka, superstar musician, 1/2 of Lemon and Herb, 28.762 at the end of the first sector. Now representing Williams, Jonathan Laka, no stranger to fighting at the front of any grid, be it the former T2 or Tier 1. He is an accomplished driver. He is one who does not neglect to put in the hard yards and put in the hours and do what needs to be done as far as, making it, making a decent, or rather putting on a decent showing for himself. So we'll see how Jonathan Laka will fare now. Coming through in the third and final sector of this here track. Pretty much soon we'll hop on over to Sage Figure of Speech. Jonathan Laka, 10th quickest, 16.443. As we now wait to see how Sage Figure of Speech will fare. Jonathan Laka went all the way to P10 with that effort. Is Mello back? Asks Seakley. Well, those of you who might know, please let us know. Sage Figure of Speech crosses the line just a couple of spots behind their teammate. 115.822. Sage Figure of Speech, decently done, and perhaps they will feel that they've done enough to guarantee their progression through to Q2. Mex has gained a 1/10 of a second through the first 2 sectors, relative, of course, to their best time. Here they come now. It's P4 now for Mex, 115.295, an improvement there, which sees them improve. Debo Crocodile is out here still in P9, so we'll hop on over to some of the drivers who are perhaps further along. Nope, we'll stay with Debo Crocodile, a distant cousin of Debo came in here. 5 minutes of the session to go. Mango had already gone, and of course did have those set of soft tires earlier. Mango has slapped on, I beg your pardon, it was mediums for Mango. Now he's put on a set of soft tires, so we'll see exactly what he's doing now. How much faster can this man go on the tires now with the most grip? The car had to get out of the way of the Papaya McLaren. He's found almost 4/10 of a second has Mango relative to their previous best. He's really given it beans, given it his all, leaving nothing to chance. What can Mango now do towards the end of this first of 3 qualifying sessions? Carrying so much speed is Mango. Now towards the line, it's Mango with a 13.396. We're still in Q1, Mango. How much more time can this man find? 113.396. It is daylight between P1 and P2. Duke thought he had the thunder today, but that has well and truly been stolen by their teammate, that being a Mango, another freshly squeezed fastest lap. How about that? Tindo is here in P17. Tendo is in the comment section. Meanwhile, it's good to have you, Tendo. Clay reckons we can see a 1 minute 12 seconds before all is said and done. Bongani, Debo Crocodile says it's short and quali. Not sure why I'm seeing a Q1 here, so perhaps things will be switched over before all is said and done. Tindo, 1:44.189 is nowhere near the mark, of course. It is now or never with just 3 minutes to go. Tindo on a push lap. What can they do? The 86er Galanasang has yet to put in a time. And he's got 3 minutes to stake his claim. Tindo is in Hail Mary territory right now. 57.657. Will it be enough for Tindo? Here we are now towards the final corner. Representing Alpine, Tindo flirts with the wall, but of course not close enough to put himself in danger. Tindo comes across the line, huffs and puffs to P16. Well. Tindo, not as high as they would have wanted. 1 minute 17.596. One of three drivers currently in the 1 minute 17s. That being Tindo. What can Zotal do now towards the tail end of this year's session? On board we go with the Haas driver. Caboza also on a push lap. Yellow flag there, but it does not look like does not look like Zotal is finding improvement, so we'll hop on over. Caboza came back into the pits. This is Mamre, who has found 2.5 tenths of a second. Currently P12 with that 16.496. What can they do now with about a minute and a half of this session to go? So many drivers out on track, as you can see on the track map demonstrated on the bottom right of your screen. This is Mamre on the hunt. And you better hope and pray that the driver ahead does not cause any unnecessary distractions. Mamre into the braking zone. Mamre into the wall, and he completely totals that car. It is still running somehow, but Mamre says goodbye to the prospects of improvements from P12 with just a minute of this session to go. He now spins it around, and it is all over for Mamre. Spina wants to keep a red flag. No, Pratas wants a red flag, but Mamre sadly cannot find any more improvement from that. We'll hop on over to some of these final prospects. It seems that Duke is on a push lap, and Quali has invalidated, sadly. Tindo is still running, trying to find improvement. Let's hop on over to Duke, who has found more than a tenth of a second worth of improvement now on their final push lap. Sid's figure of speech is also giving it a go behind Duke, so we'll see in short measure what Sid can do as he looks to usurp the Prince of Abuja. Look at that. Duke has lost some time there come the end of that middle sector. Work to do, I beg your pardon, the end of the first sector. So work to do here for Duke. Of course, it is a hell of a benchmark that their teammate Mango put on. The yellow flags on sections of the track behind Duke. You'll pay no mind to that. He is of a singular focus. 2.5 tenths worth of improvement come the end of the second sector, carrying so much speed there as the slow-moving Kick Sauber dives out of the way so that Duke can try and make sure that Sid's figure of speech does not have much to say as far as challenging that provisional P2 is concerned. It is Duke towards the line now. It's going to be good. It is a 114.156. It is an improvement. Here comes Sid's figure of speech now, but nope. No improvement there. That will be that. It is Mango in pole position. Sadly invalidated. That's a final push lap attempt. What about Mex? Also having invalidated. Donathan Laka is on the verge of coming back into the pits. Debo Crocodile is going to follow suit. The Nucho does not seem to be anywhere near the times indicating a push, and it seems that Nkwali will indeed also be back in the pits. So there it is, folks. It is Mango from Duke from Stage Figure of Speech. Billy Hendricks, P4. Zotal, 5th. Loveness, 6th. Mex is 7th. Marshy, 8th. Caboza, 9th. Donathan Laka, 10th. Debo Crocodile, 11th. Nucho, 12th. And then we have Manray and Quali in 13th and 14th. Then it is Tindo in 15th, if we discount that AI. And then Mfundo is currently P16. And then we have the 86er, who, gave it a go, but sadly was not able to get a decent time in. Well, there it is, folks. Pay attention to what Debo Crocodile was saying. Bangani was saying it's short quali, should have been full. Well, it is a full quali. That's what we're seeing here. Sikle says, I'm jealous. Sikle's itching to be involved in this field. Would have been quite entertaining to see what Sita could have done. There it is, folks. 7.5 tenths of a second is that gigantic gap between Mango and their teammate Duke. Mango really putting on a show, putting on a clinic in this first quality session. Sage figure of speech, 1.2 seconds behind. And let's take a look of how they all achieved that. Stay tuned, folks. We're going racing in Mexico. Up next. Well, folks, to give you a quick lowdown or breakdown of how the season is looking so far, Mex leads this championship 59 points. Let me just make sure I switch that off. Right, it is Mex leading the championship from Duke. Duke is on 59 points. Loveness is third in the standings on 47 points. Caboza has 44 points, as does Sage Figure of Speech. Neck and neck there. Donovan Laka is sixth with 40 points. Debo Croc is seventh with 35. Zotal is eighth in the standings, 30 points accrued thus far. Fence and Mfundo each have 22 points. Billy Hendricks, 17 points. Billy Hendricks is 11th. Marshy is 12th on 12 points. Man Ray is 13th in the standings, 10 points thus far. Then Sir Lancelot has accrued just 2 points, currently 14th. And Quali is 15th on 1 point, as is Salvi Songo. And then Sanale Mazansi, Tindo, The Nucho, Luddy are other contenders in the Breakaway All-Stars who have made appearances, but those drivers have yet to rack up any points. So work to do for those contenders. So we are now braced as we get a look at the plush seats out here in Mexico. The Paddock Club, those who could afford, well, to splash out on the most comfortable of seats. This is, of course, the fifth race of the BrakeAway Racing League All-Stars season. Tonight, we're in Mexico. Next up, in a week's time, is Singapore. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. It's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing in Mexico. It is Duke from Mango, from Sage Figure of Speech. I beg your pardon. Here we go. It is Duke on the attack versus their teammate. Will he go for it? And as you can see, it's almost 5 wide at certain points. It seems like Mango's going to keep it into turn 1. The Ferraris are fighting against Zotal, it seems. They bang wheels. It's Sage Figure and Zotal, but it looks like Sage Figure's going to come out ahead of that. Oh, the safety car comes out so quickly at the start of this race. And let's get a look at exactly who are the biggest winners and losers. Billy Hendricks, Zotal gaining a place. Sage Figure of Speech losing 2. Mex Marshy gaining 1. And Quali, what was that? 6 places gained at that dramatic start. And of course, it is utter carnage, which has called out the safety car. These guys are, well, some way away from the back of the pack. It is all the way from, it seems, Loveness going down. A huge throng of cars here that has gotten into an incident. And we see now Loveness going off track and trying to return. It is Sir Lancelot who, well, made his way into the fray quite late, gaining 7 places, did Sir Lancelot. And, of course, it seems that the incident towards the back of the pack caused this early safety car. It is a lost wing for Mfundo. Nightmare scenario for the Aston Martin driver. Front wing absolutely gone. And it seems that the 86er might have lost an end plate. Yeah, the front right end plate of that Red Bull is also gone. So early pits under the safety car, first of a total of 36 laps. Sadly, it is, a race that has been compromised early. But under the safety car, of course, it would not lose as much time as they would have in different circumstances. Fundo and the likes of the 86er will just hope to just regroup and bunch up behind the rest of the pack here. We're going to watch this surgery that this Aston Martin is going to be undertaking. There goes Fundo. Brand new wing on for the Aston Martin driver, and will be nudged all the way down towards the back of the pack. Man Ray also in the pits. A total of 5 cars here, including, of course, Debo Crocodile, who was lucky enough to get out ahead of all of them. Even Sir Lancelot, who seemed to have gained 7, sadly took damage, which necessitated a return to the pit lane quite early. Let's take a look at the tire strategies early on. Mango, who pretty much lit up the timing sheets in qualifying, is still in the lead of this race, following on behind the safety car. Of course, all the cars will bunch up and follow the pace dictated by the safety car as the debris is removed from the track of those damaged cars. They will go a couple of revolutions around this here Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico City. They'll bunch up behind the safety car, and once we get the all clear from the race director and indeed the safety officials and the marshals, we will go racing with Mango leading the pack. Well, he's going from an alternate strategy relative to the rest of the grid. Most of the field having started on a set of mediums, from Duke all the way down to Tindo. So it is Mango behind the safety car, Duke making it a McLaren 1-2, Billy Hendricks P3. What a day for the Ferrari superstar. Zotao hanging on to the top 5 spots, doing well to stay out of trouble early. Another highly experienced campaigner, knows what it takes to be fighting at the sharp end of these competitive grids. Does Zotile. He's been here pretty much since the founding of this here BrakeAway Racing League. He is also, of course, a veteran of many other racing leagues across South Africa. What can they do here tonight? Tonight in the colors of Haas. Sage figure of speech, P5. Now looking to muscle past Zotile and give their teammates something to think about. Mex is, of course, no slouch. A lot of pace. Wily driver. Look out for some possible moves up this grid. Mex is an experienced campaigner at this point. Came into the BrakeAway Racing League fray with a lot of pace. And here's, of course, a huge reputation, now driving alongside Caboza. And as we mentioned in those league standings, Mex is the championship leader. In 5 races, picked up a total of 59 points as things currently stand. Marshy, 7th, behind Mex, another who has wrapped up a lot of experience and is looking, of course, to give Mex a lot to think about, and of course looking to claw their way up, at the very least, towards their teammate who is currently in 4th. And Quali is 8th. And Quali, good to see them still going strong in the BrakeAway Racing League. Joined the league back when there were still 3 tiers, and it was an almighty scrap just to try and get up to the top tier BrakeAway Racing League. Let's see what Quali can do here today. Donovan Laka, P9, another one to look out for once racing gets back underway. Loveness, highly experienced campaigner of many a BrakeAway Racing League season. Watch them very close. We've seen Romeo Mandela Massengo in the comments. Will, of course, know Loveness very well, having raced against them for many, many years at this point, as has the likes of Seaclay. Tindo, Another highly experienced campaigner looking to claw their way up this pack. The Nucho, Peace, 13th. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman, is currently P14. Oh, what is that? Who is that? Mfundo again? Into the wall? Oh man, Mfundo doing some grass cutting early on before we get racing. Has he taken some more damage? What in the world is going on? Mfundo having a nightmare of a day. 4 laps elapsed, and we've gotten the word from race control that the safety car is in at the end of this lap. Mfundo scrambling to get back into the reckoning, as Mango is now going to be dictating the pace as to when he will pick it up. And look at that, it is Mango now giving it a go. Or is he? Yes! The McLarens are gone. Billy Hendricks, where is he caught napping? Now here they go. We're on board with Sid Figure of Speech, who's got the front row seats to the battle for the top 5 spots. Behind Sid Figure of Speech is Mex, who is also going to give it an almighty push here. Here they go towards the breaking point of turn number 1. It is one of the longest streets on the calendar. It is Mango versus Duke towards turn number 1. Oh, will they fight? No, it's plumes of smoke as those tires kick up some smoke over there, but it is no passes in towards those first couple of corners. It is Mango from Duke, from Billy Hendricks, from Zotao. And now Max is looking to give it a go. Side by side versus Sage Figure of Speech, who has the inside line, but Max on the outside gets it done. Do they bang wheels almost? Max rides the curb. Sage Figure of Speech has to contend with P6 now, as Max looks to claw his way up the pack. Marshy is going to look to give the Ferrari driver something more to think about as the battle starts to unfold now, as we get back. Racing is underway, and through the S's, the Ferrari's trying to get their line right over here, but it seems Marshy tries he might not be close enough to get that move done. This is, of course, going to be very, very close. Back to the front we go. Mango, Duke, running very, very close to one another. Already, these two superstars have eked out a gap of a second and a half from the chasing Billy Hendricks. Would you look at that? It is Formula McLaren versus the rest of the grid as things stand. DRS has been enabled. It is Duke from their teammates. Mango goes on the outside. Will Duke go for it? No, not quite. Remember, Mango is on the harder tires, which take longer to warm up relative to the medium that Duke is currently running. So as far as the tire compounds are concerned, at this moment in time, it is advantage Duke, who has the greater level of grip, as these tires, the hard tires, will take a slightly longer time to get into the optimal working condition. It seems Mango might be content to pull their teammate along, as these early laps of the restarts have yet to unfold. Let's go check now with the lower midfield. Tindo versus Debo Crocodile versus Nucho. Following this trio is Sir Lancelot, who is looking to get back into the reckoning of DRS. As far as he can tell, this is Tindo, and that duo, Debo Crocodile and Nucho, are inching further and further away. Tindo better get it together. Oh, back on board we go with Debo Crocodile, just because of the Debo Alligator. Oh, looks like the Mercedes of the Nucho does not quite have the pace side by side. Oh, and he blitzes past the Mercedes. Does Debo Crocodile in towards turn number 12. Sensationally done. Mango sets a fastest 1 minute 16.874 on a set of hard compound tires. It must be said, beautifully done there by that McLaren superstar. On board now with Debo Crocodile, who has surpassed the Nucho and is now looking to get back into the reckoning. We're now on board with Caboza, who is close but no cigar as far as that potential overtake towards Donathan Laka. Ahead of Donathan Laka is, of course, Marshy. A three-way battle here, which may yet get fiercer as this race unfolds. 7 of a total 36 laps elapsed. Oh, Donathan Laka on the outside of Marshy. He thought about it, but was not quite close enough to get that done. Donathan Laka will huff and puff and breathe down the neck of Marshy, whose, forehead is surely excreting some beads of sweat underneath that helmet. but Marshy is not going to panic, or will he, as they now start their way into the S section. It looks like that rear is twitching as far as the half is concerned. Donovan Lacka looking to take advantage. Donovan Lacka will have DRS, as will Capoza. Will Capoza go for an audacious move? Not quite. Donovan Lacka was not quite close enough to go for it in that instance. Capoza is looking for any hint of a possible mistake as far as Donovan Lacka and Marsha are concerned. Oh, Capoza riding too much of the curve there as he comes through the final set of corners over here. Capoza trying to get that line right as Amfundo becomes the first retiree out of the race. Yellow flag in another section of the track. Here comes Capoza on the outside, or there comes the inside of both of these cars. It's a sensational move by Capoza. A double overtake before turn number 1. Sensationally done by Capoza. Low downforce, it would seem. Low drag for Capoza, who gets this move sensationally done. Marshy was in the pound seats. Marshy now has to contend with B9, looking at the back of Donovan Lacka and Capoza, who has surged on ahead. Beautifully done in the midfield. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, it is Duke versus Mango. 8 laps gone. The top 2 eking out a gap of now almost 5 seconds. It is Formula McLaren and BrakeAway All-Stars out here in Mexico. Mango putting on a clinic once again, dragging along Duke, their teammate, who was some ways away in qualifying, but is making sure that he's giving Mango sleepless nights. Duke driving through gritted teeth underneath that helmet, beads of sweat racing down his cheeks, but is giving Mango nothing as far as leeway is concerned, is giving Mango no breathing room to be able to sail on into the distance. Duke is making sure that, Mango does not have any semblance of peace. And look at that red light is flashing as Mango tries to harvest some power as far as that battery is concerned. That'll give Duke a little bit of something to smile about. And as Duke now looks to go on the inside, thought about it, but did not quite go for it in that particular instance. Perhaps Duke is happy to let Mango really expend as much of that battery as he possibly can. And knowing that Duke presumably will come into the pits earlier than Mango, then he would be able to take advantage when it comes towards the end of this race. So Duke will be thinking, I just want to spend as much of this first stint as I can, not letting Mango get away. And then, once the pit windows come into play, it might yet be advantage Duke if Mango makes one mistake. But time will tell. These are all experienced campaigners. The gap between the top 2 and number 3, Billy Hendricks, 6.5 seconds. On board we go with Max. Oh, as Billy Hendricks rolls the dice. 8 laps gone. Billy Hendricks dives into the pits. Max was hoping to overtake Billy on track, but he'll say, you know what? I will take it whichever way it comes. Now it is Max versus Zoltal versus Sage Figure of Speech, who was almost a second behind these drivers in P3 and 4 respectively. What can Sage do? The answer is try and maintain this gap to less than a second to be able to take advantage of DRS. On board we go with Sage Figure of Speech, close but not close enough to make the likes of Max sweat. And Max can do all they can to equally give Zotal a couple of headaches. That red light on the back of Zotal's Haas is flashing, indicating that he's trying to harvest a little bit of electrical power, which may come into play as this battle, effectively for the podium places, keeps on hotting up. 10 laps, elapsed in this 36-lap showcase. Welcome to Mexico City. Welcome to race number 5 of the BrakeAway All-Stars season. Sage Figure of Speech is content to watch Mex and Zotal scrap it out, looking to take advantage of any scraps should they present themselves. Beautiful overhead shot of the stadium section, which is actually a baseball arena at other times of the year. Jittery is here. Duke's mediums will go to waste with the way that he's chasing his teammates. So says the jittery cursor in the comments section. Will that come to bear as this race unfolds? We will keep a close eye on that. Meanwhile, in the battle for the podium spot, Zotal, Mex, and Sage Figure of Speech are on board now with a Ferrari Superstar. If you've just joined us, it was a sensationally entertaining qualifying. Oh, look at that! Mex on the inside! Oh, they bang! They made contact! And they almost both lose it! Sage Figure heavens and goes off track. And it is a mess for Mex. Mex is going to have to now find himself again. Those tires would be screaming. Oh, Zotal! Zotal is taking a spin. Zotal has gone out of the reckoning for the podium places. Oh, Zotal, an unforced error over there. Perhaps his tires had taken enough of a beating. And now Donovan Lacka, what can he do? Well, he's still some ways away. Mex and Sitch Figure of Speech are going to be the final two contenders for that final podium spot. Zotal will be kicking himself in that cockpit. Drama in lap number 12 now in the Mexican Grand Prix. Zotal will be absolutely seething at that sequence of events. Here comes Mex now, looking to take advantage of Sitch Figure of Speech in towards turn number 1. Both these drivers on medium tires, they made contact. Did these two alongside with Zotal. Oh, a little bit of a twitch there from Sitch Figure of Speech. Zotal now almost 6 seconds behind this particular battle. And as this battle for the podium unfolds, remember, that means the top two drivers have breathing room worth 11.1 seconds. Pandemonium in Mexico. Tendo is cheering on Mex like days gone by. I assume Tendo would be the YouTube user formerly known as Nintendo Wii, as my memory comes back to me. Meanwhile, down in the lower midfield, the 86er Galalet Sang is in an almighty battle with Billy Hendricks. The Nucho is also involved, as is Tendo, who is at the head of this battle over here. Now, this is the vantage point from the Nucho. It is a fatal four-way through the S's of Mexico. Let's go, Mex, says H. Loney Moelezi, cheering on Mex, who has just put on a clinic of overtaking earlier on a couple of laps ago. This is the Nucho, less than a second behind the 86er. This fatal four-way is really going to be quite tasty now as we come down towards one of the longest straights of the Formula One calendar. Here we go. This is lap number 13. Look at the Ferrari of Billy Hendricks versus Tendo. Side by side they go, and the Ferrari is ahead. Can Tendo fight back? He does not have DRS, remember. Here comes the 86er, who's going to look to stake his claim, but the Nucho slams the door shut on the door of that Red Bull, and it is now a shuffle of the pack as far as this fatal four-way is concerned. Look at that, the 86er. Look at that yellow bar at the bottom of that steering wheel. That is an indication of the remaining electrical power. So the 86, using up so much power. And it looks like the Alpine of Tendo kicking up a lot of smoke. Tendo losing ground. Tendo is out of the DRS of Billy Hendricks ahead, having made that crucial mistake. And Tendo, those tires will now be screaming. Oh, Nucho racks up a time penalty over there. And things are really starting to kick off here with 14 laps gone. It seems Sitch Figure of Speech ahead of the pack has come into the pits. The 86er who was looking to fight against the Nucho. He got that overtake done, but 3 seconds happens. Nucho fights right back, and Nucho through the slowest section of the track slams the door shut on the 86er, who will now have to contend with that time penalty and contend with having to try and overtake the Nucho once again. Well. It is all kicking off. Sitch Figure of Speech rolling the dice relative to some of the runners on in the top 10 of the field. Sitch Figure of Speech coming in earlier to a pit stop. We're going to have to watch and see how that unfolds. The 86er with a late dive bomb was nowhere near there. And it seems they're giving each other some racing rooms. Will they bang wheels? Not quite. It is oh so close, and the 86er has to let that go. Mango has got a 3-second time penalty for track limit incursions. And that'll be the 86er! What was that? Outbraking himself and damaging his wing to the 86er, and he will now be compromised as Duke joins the time penalty shootout at the front of the pack. The 86er went straight into the back of the Nucho, and on top of that 3-second time penalty, might have to change that wing on the front of that Red Bull. It's pandemonium out here in race number 5. Mayhem in Mexico. Absolutely sensational stuff. Some of the top runners are now coming into the pits. Let's take a look at that. It is Duke and also Zotal, who had that huge incident earlier. Let's see now how Duke comes out. Titus, of course, a former champion of the top tier, saying no to the 86er. Titus will be well aware of the 86er, having raced against them in years gone by. Duke is now out of the pits. He has pitted, and a fresh set of hard tires, a 3-second time penalty, and is currently in P5. Let's see how Duke's race will pan out from here on out. Remember, Duke is fighting for the win. Incident notwithstanding, Duke was already slipping, was completely lost that tire advantage after all that unsuccessful chasing. So says the jittery cursor in the comments, who was not a fan of the extent to which Duke was pushing those medium tires before having come into the pits. Now, Duke does not have the sight of his teammates ahead. Let's see how Duke will fare. Behind Duke is Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, yet to pit. Or Debo Crocodile was one of the earlier drivers who had pitted under that first safety car. So it's a different strategy for them. Marshy, 14-lap-old medium tires. Billy Hendricks is currently 8th, and it is a tussle between these three drivers. Oh, these two Ferraris trying to dispatch Marshy over there. This is the vantage point from Sage Figure of Speech, who's looking to get past their teammate, Billy Hendricks, on a slightly older set of medium tires. Who's that in the pits? It looks like Donathan Lacka. Fresh set of hearts for them. This is Sage Figure of Speech on the inside of their teammate. Side by side they go now as they go screaming towards turn number 1. It could be a double overtake. Could it be? Oh, the other Ferrari almost made contact with the back of the half. Now they go side by side, but will they bang wheels here as they tussle through turns 3 and 4? Well. The Ferrari's getting feisty in this 16th revolution around the Mexico Grand Prix circuit. Things are really kicking off out here in the midfield. The gap between Mango and Mex, 17.5 seconds. Neither of the top 3 drivers have come into the pits. Meanwhile, Duke has caught up to the driver in P3. Caboza opts not to fight that. Duke is, of course, looking to trim that gap as much as he possibly can. Perhaps Mango's race engineers will be giving him notice that their teammate, Duke, is currently P3, make that P2, because Mex is in the pits, and Duke is now in P2. And Mango will be seeing that, and Mango will not be best impressed with that, as Duke now chases to catch up with their teammates. Back to the midfield we go. Billy Hendricks now in the pits. Marshy in the pits. Zotal already pitted. Oh no, Tindo gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, Tindo could have taken advantage of all these 3-second time penalties that the drivers around him had. But that is pretty much that as far as Tindo's race prospects are concerned. Thank you, Fente. It's good to be back. And well, hopefully we'll see you racing pretty soon. Billy Hendricks down in P15, coming out of the pits. Marshy retired. Marshy is out. What happened to Marshy? Is that retiring in the pits, or did something happen somewhere out on circuit? Looks like Mango is approaching the slow-moving Haas of Marshy, so perhaps Marshy opts to retire on track. This is the vantage point as far as the race leading Mango is concerned. Yep, that is Marshy's car on the sidelines there. So do wonder what prompted Marshy to give up on this race. Marshy was having a decent day out, so sadly they have to leave the fray. Mango and Duke have been the class of the field as far as the story of this race is concerned. They were sensational in qualifying. They have been peerless in the race. This is Zotal versus Man Ray. It is not a contest as far as Zotal is concerned. Currently, 3-lap-old hards versus Man Ray's aging hard tires. And Gawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, is in the comments section saying the boys are back. It is good to see D-Wax in the comments section. Of course, another seasoned campaigner as far as the BrakeAway Racing League is concerned. Zotal versus Man Ray is pretty much over as a contest, with Man Ray struggling to keep those tires alive. Caboza finally came into the pits, and I'll tell you what, the race-leading Mango has said, all right, that's it. I will finally come in to fit on my medium tires, which are 3 laps newer than those of Duke. Here comes Duke now towards the main straight. Will Duke surpass their teammate who is still crawling out of the pits? The answer is not quite, but they will be within touching distance come the turn number 1. There is Duke, and as you see, Mango is coming out of those first couple of corners. So they are within touching distance. That gap, 2.4 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Remember, Mango's tires have more grip. Mango's tires are newer by a factor of 4 laps. Will that be enough? Or will Mango fall foul of track limit incursions, which could subject them to another 3-second time penalty? Time will tell. The 86er versus Loveness versus, is that the Tindo? No, that is the Nucho. Oh, the 86er takes a lot of curve there. Not having the best of days. Let's take a look at the penalty situation. 3 seconds each for Mango, Duke, Nucho, Loveness, and the 86ers. 10 seconds, of course, as we had mentioned for Tindo. This is the 86er trying to make a sort of a comeback. Loveness, is really struggling to hold on to the rear of that car. The 86er is not going to need a second invitation if they give him a bite at the cherry of a possible overtake. Now, running in 12th place, look how close Loveness and the Nucho are. Loveness does not want to be dragged into a 3-way battle. Loveness wants to be the protagonist in this 3-way tussle. Loveness is going for it. Loveness on the outside. Loveness side by side. Loveness on the inside. And he's got that move done. The 86er makes contact. With the back of the Mercedes. And has sent the Nucho spinning. Nucho will be furious. The 86er once again falling foul. And the 86er once again breaking their wing. 86er will be in trouble with the stewards when all is said and done. And the Nucho will be seething, having now to come into the pits, having taken too much damage, having of course clashed once again with their nemesis. Galanatang Kagawaithi, the 86er, in deep trouble as Nintendo Wii laments that little bit of action that we saw. Meanwhile, at the sharp end, at the business end of this race, look at that. Mango racked up another 3-second time penalty. It is advantage Duke then, who just has to make sure that the Mango does not get too far ahead. That is easier said than done, because as I say that, Mango sets a fastest lap and Mango stretches his legs and stretches that gap to 5 seconds. Duke with a heck of a lot of work to do now, looking to pass the back markers, that being Nkwali and Sir Lancelot. And Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, currently running in P3. No time penalties to contend with. Beautifully done by Bongani over here. Mex is in P4. Biggest cheerleader, of course, is, Nintendo Wii in the comment section. What can they do now? 3.2 seconds, the gap between Mex and Debo Crocodile. Further 3.3 seconds behind, Sid's figure of speech, who has the specter of Zotal to contend with. A further 2.5 seconds behind there. That gap is creeping and inching closer and closer. But Zotal loses about a 10th on the exit of that particular corner. Behind Zotal is Kaboza, who opted not to get too caught up in the battles when some of the leaders came calling before he came into the pits. Kaboza running in P7, and of course currently doing well as far as that Drivers' Championship is concerned. Kaboza currently 4th in the driver's standings on 44 points. Donovan Laka currently running in P8, and Man Ray is looking to have something to say about that. Man Ray, once again, on that, can you call it an alternate strategy? It's definitely a bold strategy. 19 laps yet to pit has Man Ray, and the same, of course, goes for, hasn't pitted since that early incident which brought out the safety car. Same goes for the 86er, who has a whole slew of penalties to contend with. 9-second time penalty for Mango now. 9 seconds worth of penalties, which will give Duke some hope. But it's a case of unforced errors as far as Mango is concerned now. 22 laps unchallenged at the front of the pack. And even accounting for Duke's undercut, still managed to maintain the lead of the race as in quali opts to partake in this time penalty shootout. The latest driver to be slapped with a 3-second time penalty in quali, running down in P15 with their teammate Sir Lancelot in close proximity. Meanwhile, at the sharp end of this race, Mex has finally caught up to the back of Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. But look at that, Mex coming unstuck there through the penultimate corner, and as the time penalties come trickling in, Mex will be glad that he still has an opportunity to open up that rear wing, courtesy of being within a second of the car that he is chasing. And Debo Crocodile will hope for more of those slips and slides and possible mistakes from Mex. On board now with the V-Carb Superstar, who is looking to have something to say before this 23rd tour around this circuit is done. Time penalties trickling in all throughout this grid. Mex, wider line through the sequence of right-handers. Mex, better exit. Mex on the back. Mex having to lift off the throttle so as to not kiss the back of that car. Debo Crocodile sweating. Debo Crocodile harvesting power, as you can see that red light flashing, trying to gain some power. And Mex on the outside will say thank you very much. Debo Crocodile not fighting that too much as they now make their way into 12. And the final sequence of corners, one of the slowest sections of the track, stadium section, will clap that overtake that Mex just executed. Well, what a field spread we have here at this point in time. Lovely, says Nintendo Wii in the comment section. Debo Crocodile now looking to stay within touching distance of Moteo Mekwa, aka Mex. Tindo, the latest to earn a time penalty in this time penalty shootout of a race. So just the two retirements, sadly, Marshy and Mfundo, who did not finish this race. Mfundo much earlier than Marshy, whose incidents perhaps we shall hear about in due time. Debo Crocodile, on those much older tires, is doing spectacularly well, not to fall too far behind Mex. Still within a second, and we'll get a chance to open up that rear wing for DRS to try and inch closer and closer towards the back of Mex. Sage Figure of Speech is watching proceedings closely and looking to take advantage of those far older tires that Debo Crocodile is running. 10-lap-old versus 22-lap-old hard compound tires. It is advantage Sage Figure of Speech, but can he turn theory into a real-world overtake? Sage Figure of Speech is going to ghost through the back markers. Well. Sage Figure of Speech. Now, oh, who is that? In quali? It's one of the, it's Sir Lancelot, who's having a nightmare of a day, already been lapped, and, well, took a little bit of a spin there. And quali is a little bit further ahead, and, Sir Lancelot on the verge of being lapped by a V-Carb. Back to this prospect of a battle between Sage Figure of Speech and Debo Crocodile. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, Zotal is also looking to have something to say as far as this battle is concerned. But who will have the advantage when all is said and done? 2.7 seconds. Now, Zotal towards Sage Figure of Speech, who will very soon have the prospect of DRS. And that is that. Sir Lancelot called time on their race. Sir Lancelot in the pit lane, having been lapped by a whole host of cars now. That is that as far as Sir Lancelot is concerned. And hopefully the race in Singapore next time round will bear him better tidings. So commiserations to Sir Lancelot, Martian, and Fundo, our 3 retirees out of this race. 27 laps, elapsed. Oh, the Nucho becomes the latest casualty of this race. But how and where? Oh man, oh man, oh man. The Nucho retiring, crashing out, has brought out the virtual safety car. Oh, and I know that a lot of these drivers would have hoped beyond hope that it was a full safety car. Well, will anyone take advantage of the VSC to come into the pit lane and lose less time than they would have? Yep, the answer is Debo Crocodile will take advantage of the virtual safety car to come into the pits. Less time lost. It's a set of medium tires to the end of this race. What about Sid's figure of speech? Follow suit, mediums. Oh no! Caboza has had a massive clash with Quali on the entrance to the pit lane, and it's a 10-second time penalty for the V-Card superstar who will be kicking himself. And Mango keeps on racking up those time penalties. So, the drivers to roll the dice under a virtual safety car, Debo Crocodile, Sid's figure of speech, Caboza, who would have hoped rather to carry on if it meant he would have avoided that 10-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Mango has accrued another 3-second time penalty. It is still advantage Duke, as Jittery Cursor says. That is so sloppy that we're seeing from these drivers who have done well, a lot of them, up until this particular point. Debo Crocodile on those brand spanking new tires. Billy Hendricks is the latest to retire out of this race. What is going on towards the end? Caboza, time penalty, safety car. It's a full safety car with the retirement of Billy Hendricks. Drama in Mexico, mayhem, pandemonium. Well, it is awful timing of that safety car, considering where Mango and Duke were. Mex was perfectly positioned to take advantage of that safety car. Some of you guys reckon that Mango is, seeding this race. Mex has no time penalties and has just come out of the pits with a fresh set of medium compound tires. Debo Crocodile follows suit. Zotao is in the fray. Sid's figure of speech had, of course, already come out into the pit. Yeah, that is Mango, as some of you called it. That is that. Mango seeing the writing on the wall. I would have still liked to see what they would have done. But Mango calling time on that race. So, Duke, it is up to you to fly the flag for McLaren as the pit stops keep on coming in. And Caboza is now down in P9. He's opted for a set of soft tires for what will be the final couple of laps around this circuit. I do wonder if Caboza has served that penalty as he came into the pits now. The answer is yes. Caboza served that 10-second time penalty, so now only the 3-second penalty remains. The 86er, who may yet have a meeting with the stewards when all is said and done, currently 11, 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Mango says, "Thanks, but I got places to be. I got things to do," in the comment section. Well, Mango, would have been entertaining to see how the final few laps might have unfolded. Perhaps we shall see you duking it out with Duke, Mex, Debo, Seaclay, Zotal, Sage Figure of Speech, Donovan Lacka, Loveness, and the like in races to come. So, just 12 contenders remaining in this race. Mango, thank you for the kind words. Always appreciated. Always good to spend time in the company of all of these fantastic drivers. Duke will now have the responsibility. Oh, Man Ray. drive-through penalty, speeding under the safety. Oh, Man Ray, what was that?
Ay, pero Man Ray, speed na lang upitin. Ang sagot is keeper. Ay, Man Ray, kati ko sa kalon. Man Ray, what's going on?
Yeah, it's not exactly clear what's going on with Man Ray. Spilling out a drive-through penalty to contend with now. It was a golden opportunity for Man Ray to get a decent haul of points here, considering the retirements. Man Ray, up until this point, had accrued 10 championship points, so that drive-through penalty will not help him at all. Well, safety car, of course, the cars are bunched up behind the safety car. The order is Duke from Mex, Debo Crocodile, Zotal is 4th, Sage Figure of Speech 5th, Donovan Laka 6th. The drivers from P2 to 6 have no time penalties. What a tasty prospect we have when all resumes here. Loveness is 7th, Kaboza 8th, Man Ray 9th, the 86er Galalatang Kagawaki 10th, Tindo 11th, and Quali is currently P12. This is the situation as far as the tires are concerned. Now, Duke, of course, under the safety car, also opted to come into the pits. Did not lose track position. Such was the level of dominance as far as Duke and Mangle was concerned. Referring, of course, to the gap that the top two had relative to the rest of the field. So it's brand new mediums for each of the top 6 drivers. A smattering of soft tires. Of course, that being this driver, Loveness, currently 7th. Making their way, trying to catch up towards the rest of the field. So Loveness, being Loveness, will be absolutely aggressive. In a good way, of course. He's got all the reason to be. He's got more grip, theoretically, relative to the medium tire runners, at least for those first couple of laps. Loveness will give it a go, as will Kaboza, the veteran at this particular point. Man Ray on the mediums, the 86er, and in Quali, the other drivers on those softs. Now, it might have been quite an ask to get back into the reckoning for points. But look, Tindo and Quali, well, if they could have unlapped themselves, perhaps. But I know it was Sir Lancelot that was lapped. But it is a decent chance for some of the backmarkers now to get into those points-paying positions. Only the top 10 drivers earn points in this sport. Lap number 30. Hoping for at least 6 laps of racing. We hope then that this would be the final lap under the safety car. These drivers weaving left and right, trying to get some temperature into those tires in time for the restart. Man Ray back in the pits. Fresh set of softs, and is that a retirement? Man Ray just disappeared. Well, we'll catch up with Man Ray when he comes back onto the track. Oh no! Second time penalty for the 86er! Oh, that is that as far as his points prospects are concerned. When everybody crosses the finish line, 10 seconds will be added to the 86ers tally. Oh man, that is a nightmare scenario for the veteran Galalatang Kagawaithi, who's had quite the eventful day here, a couple of incidents earlier on in the race, and now has it all to do as race control gives the word that the safety car is in at the end of this lap. And as you see, the field weaving to the left and to the right, trying to get some temperature into those tires. Look at that, yellow bar at the bottom of Mex's steering wheel. It is a recharged, fully recharged battery on board now with Mex. Vantage point in this battle for the top 3 spots. Debo Crocodile is running close behind. Sitch, figure of speech, gets a time penalty. Oh, here we go now. It is Duke versus Max versus Debo Crocodile. And they're running also close together. It is Max who's going to go on the inside. But will he go? Will he get it done? No, not quite. Perhaps Max is content to let Duke have the lead in the early stages of this restart. Debo Crocodile is hanging on, of course, to these top drivers. It seems that Tindo is, of course, has been lapped at this particular point, which is why his car is ghosting out. As you can see, this is the vantage point as far as Zotal is concerned, trying to get past the lap. Tindo at this point of the race, the top three drivers well within close proximity of one another. Just a few laps to go over here as the top five have managed to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. That gap between Sigfig and Loveness, 1.2, 1.1 seconds. Can Loveness trim the gap? Can Loveness make sure that he finds himself into the reckoning over here? Time will tell. They're still running in formation here as we hop on board with the vantage point to the P4 running Zotal. Now looking to make sure that Debo Crocodile has all of the headaches. Stitch, figure of speech, would have been hoping not to get that 3-second time penalty, but now that puts him in an almighty tussle with Loveness. They hug the wall, do the top four drivers as they look to take advantage of whatever slipstream can be created in that run towards turn number one. Mex is still within half a second of Duke. And remember, as far as Duke is concerned now, he needs to somehow, in the remaining 4 laps, create a buffer of 3 seconds. But this is Mex we're talking about. He is no slouch. He is no rookie. He is no pushover. And Mex will give it an almighty push. A huge fight will the V-Carb driver put on versus the McLaren superstar. It was plain sailing when it was Mangover and Duke in the early stages of this race. But Mex is giving it a sure go at this final stage of this sensationally entertaining race. 7/10, 8/10 of a second as Duke looks to stretch his legs and give Mex a whole lot to think about. Stitch, figure of speech versus Zotal, oh so close. Over there, they were down to about 1/10 of a second within one another. That gap between these two, the Haas and the Ferrari, of course, under the covers of that Haas is the Ferrari engine. Oh, as the Ferrari of Stitch, figure of speech makes acquaintance with the back of Zotal's car. No significant damage as far as the Ferrari of Stitch, figure of speech is concerned. And he'll be happy to hear that. Look at that yellow bar at the bottom of that steering wheel. He's used up so much of his battery and now is going to try to take advantage of DRS as both these three drivers go for it. Now, in this tussle, it is Zotal who hangs on. Stitchfig versus Debo Croc. Stitchfig overtakes the Red Bull, and Debo Crocodile will now have to contend with fighting from P5. And he's used up so much of his battery too. Just a couple of laps remaining in this race, and Mex has fallen out of the DRS of the race leader as we watch this battle for the podium places. It is oh so tense, oh so close, oh so crucial that Debo Croc does not fall foul of those track limit incursions. Meanwhile, Caboza versus Loveness in the battle taking place just behind those contending for the podium. What can Caboza do here? He's also used up so much of his battery power as this race trickles on towards its inevitable conclusion. What can the V-Carbs do? Caboza from the vantage point of P7 and Mex from the vantage point of P2. But of course that gap means potentially it is Mex who is going to be winning this race. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Still a lot of racing to go. 2 laps. There's a long way to go in Formula One. Oh, Caboza losing ground to Loveness there through the exit of the final corners. And now here comes Donathan Laka on the outside of the V-Carb. And the Williams driver potentially screaming past. But look at that low downforce, that low drag setup that Caboza is running. Managing, but not quite managing to keep that P7 spot. Donathan Laka screaming past towards the tail end of this race. Back towards the battle for the podium spots we go. Debo Croc, Zotal, Sage figure of speech within close proximity. On board we go with the Red Bull superstar who was looking to give Zotal all of the pressure, looking to make Zotal spin out and crash out possibly of this race. We've seen Zotal make unforced errors earlier on in this race. We saw Zotal spin out. Can Zotal hold out? Can Zotal keep his nerve? Can Zotal hang on? As I say that, it's Steve Crocodile who seems to be struggling for grip as Zotal now holds his nerve to make sure that it will be a guaranteed podium, considering Sage Figure of Speech has that penalty to contend with. Oh, they're slipping and sliding through the stadium section. Zotal making sure not to make contact with the back of that Ferrari, looking to huff and puff and scream down the main street as the top contenders begin the final lap of this race. It is Zotal using whatever is left of the battery. Side by side they go towards turn number one. Oh, it's a three-way tussle. They bang wheels and Demo Crocodile ferociously goes on the inside and makes Zotal potentially spin. Demo Crocodile with the most audacious move. He made contact with a couple of drivers. You shall not pass it, Demo Crocodile. And now Zotal is looking to get his own back. Meanwhile, Mex is fighting. Zotal is going to go off track. The 86er is retired. Zotal loses ground, crashes, and sends the Ferrari careening off the track. Steady, says Jittery Cursor in the comments section. Meanwhile, we're going to catch up with the leading pack. It's breathless stuff towards the end of this race here, and Cinch Figure of Speech is giving it an almighty push over here, as we must give props, we must give kudos, we must give the credits to the drivers who will finish at the front. Oh, here they come now. It's contact towards the end of this race as they now tussle and scrap towards the finish line now. But it has to be kudos to Duke, but it is actually Max who wins the race. Here comes Steve Crocodile and this trio featuring Sage Figure of Speech and Zotal. It has been an almighty tussle, but Steve Crocodile finishes on the podium's places. Zotal fourth, Donovan Lacka fifth. Sage Figure of Speech is in 6th place. Caposa is 7th. Loveness 8th. Man Ray Tindo riding off your contenders from Equality as well. What a race. And they will be catching their breath right now as they pick up the marbles and make their way back. What a sensational end towards the race. Mex Moteo Mekwa, whose biggest cheerleader, Nintendo Wii, is smiling from ear to ear. What a race that was, says Tendo. Mex coming out trumps, coming out tops. Duke put on a heck of a showcase, but that time penalty was telling at the end. Beautifully done. And what a tussle from Debo Crocodile towards the end. I'll tell you what, this will be one to enjoy when you will watch the race back. We will wait for all of our top contenders to join us here in the commentary box. There it is, Mex on the top step of the podium. Take a bow. Mex and Duke and Debo Crocodile. What a showcase we had in Mexico. And what, oh what, does Singapore have in store for us when we next gather for the all-star rendition of BrakeAway Racing League. Back-to-back race week bangers, says Tendo, who has been watching these showcases very, very carefully. How about that? Mex triumphs in Mexico. Duke makes it a P2 finish for McLaren. And the Red Bull in the hands of Debo Crocodile makes that a decent day for a very, very good team. Zotal will be disappointed not to have gotten that podium in the end. What a fight he put on. And really, what a showcase that was between all of those contenders. Well. Thank you for joining us, folks. We'll just hang out here in the commentary box to see who, if anyone, might be joining us before we call time on this broadcast. Just catching up with a couple of your comments. Jittery Cursor, Tendo, Seafley, Titus, as well as Key Music, Kid K, Debo Croc was also in the comment section. It was really great to have you all here with us. And yeah, cannot wait really for the next showcase. We will tally up the points. We will see what the stewards say, and we will see you all in Singapore for the next leg in this all-star showcase of the BrakeAway Racing League. Lungello, fantastic to see you in the comments. What a beautiful and sensationally entertaining race that was. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for more and to see so many of the drivers who sadly could not make it today. But what a great field we have. I think it was 17 or 18 drivers. So beautifully entertaining. And we will be seeing you in the next installment. Thank you, everybody. And good night. Thank you, Depot Crocodile and Lungs.